My name is Chris Donohue. I'm the Director of Developer Relations for Windows Graphics and Gaming. So is the name of the new API DirectX 10, or is it Windows Graphics Foundation? It's DirectX 10 and Direct3D 10. Windows Graphics Foundation was a code name. We like code names like Longhorn and that, and Windows Vista. So it was a code name, and it encompassed a whole bunch of things that we were doing at the time that have since been sort of, sorted out and put into the operating system in their proper buckets. But yeah, DirectX 10 years of DirectX. We started 10 years ago. We shipped the first version, and we shipped DirectX 10 in the last SDK that came out in December. DirectX 10 is re-architected completely. DirectX 9, it's not backwards compatible with any previous version of DirectX, and I'll address that concern in a second. But to go on with DirectX 10, you get, its Shader Model 4 is sort of one of the big things about it. Shader Model 4 is the next sort of move on HLSL, and what we've done is made it a much more general purpose, broad use language. There's no difference between vertex shaders and pixel shaders. The number of instructions are much more, it's much longer, so you can write a lot longer shaders. What that does is essentially allows you to, when you write a longer shader, and with DirectX 9 and before, when you use shaders, you had a limitation on the size of shaders, which meant once you executed that shader, you had to go back across the bus to the CPU, pull the next shader in, and then execute that. DirectX 10 with longer shaders is able to stop doing the jump back and forth across the bus, so it's going to be significantly faster. Some of the test work that we've done so far shows up to possibly an 8x improvement in performance over DirectX 9. That's a pretty significant thing for consumers, because not only are you going to have applications that run at whatever your maximum resolution is, at whatever the refresh rate is, developers are going to be able to take that extra bandwidth of power and do a lot more with it. Deeper worlds, more characters in a scene, more clutter. You look at most of the games that have come out today, like Half-Life 2, even Call of Duty 2, right? Call of Duty 2 is a beautiful game, and it looks great. But if you look at the environments, you go, there could still be more stuff in there. There could certainly be more characters in there. Persistent explosion bits, those kind of things. That's all capabilities that you can do. What are DX10 and Vista going to mean for existing games? DX10 for existing games, like I said, it's not backwards compatible, but the interesting thing about Windows Vista is that this is the first operating system that will have actually two graphics APIs in it. Windows Vista, being a 3D desktop and 3D operating system, has DirectX 9 built into the operating system, and so the desktop and Aero Glass are all built on DirectX 9. DirectX 10 is also in there, so when DirectX 10 hardware is available later this year, you'll pop it, when Vista launches, we'll have DirectX 10 hardware. So the games that are built, you'll have to build a game, and we're working with developers now to build DirectX 10 based games. When Vista launches and you have a system that has DirectX 10 hardware in it, and you install a DirectX 10 game, you're going to see, again, the significantly better visuals and faster performance. DirectX 9 titles will still work, or pre-DirectX 10 titles, if you want to pop World of Warcraft in, or StarCraft, or whatever the case is, they'll definitely be compatible and they'll run just fine. You won't see the performance gains, mainly because they're the existing engine and architecture, but the people that are able to take advantage of that. The other thing we've done, just on the same kind of note of graphics-wise, is and the benefit that people will get for previous, not new games, the existing type games, is the stability of the graphics system. We've rewritten the graphics driver model from the ground up. So, when it used to be less than stable, and you get graphics crashes and drop to the desktop, that's not going to happen with Vista, with Windows Vista. How will Vista take advantage of dual-core processors? Basically with, the ability to multi-thread, and Windows has always been a multi-threading. Hasn't always been, but the recent versions have been multi-threading and taking advantage of. We've had support for SMPs for a while, symmetric multiprocessors, and now that AMD and Intel are shipping multi-core systems, you got dual-core chips out there right now. We're able to take advantage of that because it's one of the interesting things about the operating system is there's always something going on. There's always more than one thing going on, and they've built the operating system from the ground up to take advantage of not only multi-core systems, but also 64-bit. So there's native 64-bit support, there's 32-bit support for legacy systems if you choose to install it on a legacy system, and there'll be great support for the multi-core. that's where things are going with CPUs, right? There's dual core stuff now. There's going to be triple cores. There's going to be multiple cores going forward as they figure out this the way to cram more cores into a chip. And I think Vista's scalable enough. Windows Vista is scalable enough to be able to take advantage of that. It's the same thing with game developers too. That's the challenge. You know, all the new consoles that have come out that are, you know, Xbox 360 and Sony's product have multiple cores as well. So game developers always take advantage of technology first, and they're the ones that go through the biggest pain and, you know, find out all the tricks, and then it shows up in other applications later. Game developers are starting to really learn how to use it, and if you look at some of the launch titles for Xbox 360, developers, we work with those developers as well, and that's one of the things that we talk about with them, is with, you know, making sure that they're understanding how to use their threads and how to use the multiple cores, you know, to get the best possible experience for the consumer. So will DirectX 10 or Windows Vista enhance Xbox 360 development? I think so. The thing about Windows and what we've done over the last 10 years with DirectX is we are the innovation engine for gaming. If you look at the architecture for, certainly for Xbox, and you know, Xbox 360 and Sony's product, those are fundamentally PC architectures. There's CPUs, there's a GPU, there's memory, there's, you know, a hard drive in some SKUs, you know, and the graphics component in Xbox was certainly DirectX. It was, you know, Xbox came out of the DirectX group. So I'd say yes. I think that DirectX 10 is going to move the industry further. One of the things one of the peripheral benefits to the new APIs is that when people are doing content development, so you've got guys building these really intricate, massive models and worlds and things, we are able to give them a pretty good and speed up their production time, by the way, so they can get these things rendered out in a faster time. They do have to scale it back. The thing about a console is it's sort of a snapshot of hardware at the time that stays standard for 5 years. You know, the PC is always moving forward. We're always changing the technology. You think about, you know, some of the things that NVIDIA and ATI are doing with SLI. If you think about dual DirectX 10 SLI cards, you know, wow, there's some pretty beefy capability there. But you know, as far as advantage for cross-platform, yeah, we work very closely with the Xbox guys. You know, again, Xbox is using DirectX, so one of the things that we do, one of the things that Microsoft is really good at, is providing support for people building products for their platform. It's something that we've always done, something that we'll continue to do, and it's something that we work, as I said, we work really closely with the Xbox guys to make sure that when we go out and talk to developers, we not only have a consistent story, we also give them the easiest possible way to deploy their products across all of our platforms. So Xbox, Xbox 360, Windows XP, Windows Vista, you know, mobile, Media Center, all of those lines. Those are things that we're really trying to make sure that we are able to give them tools that make it easy for them to deploy across that entire spectrum. When we do a presentation for developers of Windows Vista and DirectX 10, what parts of it wows them and what parts do they get excited about? So far, mostly all of it. Maybe not so much the parental controls, but that's a, you know, semi-contentious subject. But being a parent, those are important, you know. And personally, there's a time restriction thing, so I can, you know, my kid can only play within certain hours, so I know he won't be playing World of Warcraft past midnight. You know, I can enable that in my machine, which I'm looking forward to. As far as the rest of the stuff goes, I think that having a single place, if you saw the demo of the Games Explorer at the keynote, having a single place where games live and not having to search through, you know, start, all programs, Electronic Arts, Battlefield, etc., and just going to games, which is right on the start menu, is one thing, because it's going to be easier for people to find games. All their saved games will be there. You know, there's a rich save game component that allows them to just double click and go. Everything you need to do with games will be contained in that window, so you can get your updates. You can, you know, there's links to community sites. You can uninstall things. There's links to the appropriate control panel things for your hardware or settings. There's actually an advanced play option function. So for the real hardcore guys who like to set the mouse timing and you know, refresh rates and stuff that you can do on command line options, that stuff's enabled in menus there. So you can do it simple, or you can go in and there's a whole bunch of just, you know, click boxes that say, you know, I want this mouse speed, I want this, that, and the other thing, the resolution, anti-aliasing off and on, and it'll enable it right there. So it's just a sort of a consolidation. It's one of the things where we haven't addressed Windows as a game platform properly in the past. We've just kind of allowed it to happen, and it's done pretty well. And by the way, Windows gaming is far from dead. So there's a lot of things that make it easier for people to get in and play games faster, which is really what we want. You know, we just want to make it as easy as possible for people to play games. Easy install, making it so the install process for games is a lot more simplified. Consoles, you throw a disc in and the game plays. Well, you can do that on Windows. There's no reason you can't. It's not, you know, super magic technology. It should just work, and that's what we're working towards.